Today we're going to talk about a topic that is touching a lot of lives, and I think which is not always discussed openly enough, which is fertility. And I'm very happy that we are joined by you, Semin, as our guest to talk about this very important topic. You are a fertility doula. And you are going to tell us more about how you support people who are on this journey. For those of us who are following us, if you are just beginning on your fertility journey, or if you are already navigating fertility treatment, or even just supporting someone who is, this discussion is for you. Maybe, Semin, the best is for me to leave you the floor and start by introducing yourself.
Introducing myself. Okay. Yes. Where shall I start?
Tell us everything.
Well, actually, I've ended up in this field through my own story, as many actually other fertility, many women who are, not all of them, but a lot of women who are on this field of fertility support have already experienced also a fertility journey of their own. Mm-hmm. So I've had mine, and also and our journey took 4 years in total, with a successful end, thankfully. Yeah. But this process changed me so much that I actually changed my whole career.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I was actually working at the university. I had done my PhD, my postdocs and everything. Mm-hmm. But then I felt called to help other women who are going through this process. And basically, why did I feel the call as well? Because I felt that the topic was, when you're in the medical treatment process, of course, not everyone has to end up there, but most women end up there nowadays, because we also start a bit later on trying to conceive, let's say. Basically the medical process was medical and getting pregnant is not just a medical affair. We're not machines, and we can't turn ourselves on when we want to get pregnant. For some people it just works wonderfully and right away, but when it doesn't, then it becomes a journey actually. Yes. And there, a more holistic support is needed. At least that's my conviction. And that's what I felt actually was missing, because, for obvious reasons, by the way, because, fertility doctors also work on a full schedule. They have to go from appointment to appointment, so they don't have the room to talk with you as a person, as a woman. What are your needs? How does your body work? What else are you experiencing in your life? Are there any other things that are blocked, or are you feeling well? Of course, at some point you're not feeling well in the process, right? Yeah. So that's why, we need a bit more than the regular.
In your case, as a fertility doula, we love hearing about, how you became one and why. And because I feel it's really a calling, and it really comes from your own experience as a mother. So take your time to tell the backstory. It's interesting.
Well, the backstory was also about when I first heard about the concept of fertility doula, right? Because that was when I was having my end before I got my diploma as a doula. So my mentor said, why don't you become a fertility doula? And then it sort of stayed there, because I did sort of fertility coaching with people who wanted to get pregnant, and I was a doula for pregnancy and birth. And at some point I thought, actually, I want to be combine it. Yes. Actually, I should become fertility doula. But then, it took some time to embrace this term, because I well, somehow felt it wasn't like obvious, also because it's not that known in the Netherlands. In the US, actually, also it's present, and usually it's more geared towards supporting well, couples or women who are in the process of fertility treatments or adoption. So it's more about like getting pregnant or becoming mothers. That's the focus. But in my case, actually, I combine sort of the two. And yeah, so like if we start working together when you are trying to conceive, I'm there from then on up until postpartum. But it can also be that you find me after you get pregnant from after fertility treatments, because I find also this also requires specialized support, because it's quite vulnerable getting pregnant after fertility treatment.
Yes.
It's very precious. Sometimes you've had experience of miscarriages,
Yes.
repetitive miscarriages, so you're very insecure. And if you have not worked on rebuilding your trust in your body, then you sort of have to build this trust during the pregnancy and birth and like whatever comes afterwards, right? Because actually, I think in well, doula support in general, but also in the fertility doula support I offer, key is on building the trust in your own body and in your also in your own intuition as a woman, because this is going to serve you with the whole process, basically. So yeah, and also listening to your body, what it needs. So these are sort of, yeah, like the what makes doula support also holistic in a way, because we look at the body, we look at the emotions, we look at the mental parts, and if you're in like want to go even deeper to the spiritual aspects, so we actually offer what you need as a woman. We look at you as a person and not just as one person who's also pregnant or who's also trying to get pregnant, because every person has specific needs which are, well, belong to them, let's say, and that requires also the methods that fit you, let's say.
So it's really tailored, personalized support based on, you meet people where they are, you know, whatever the stage, because that was one of my questions, like at what point in their fertility journey do future parents or do people just, you know, come to you and decide to consult with you? You already replied a little bit to the question, right? It's really...
It depends, of course, on the person, but I mean, like the bulk of the people who start working with me have already gone through some fertility treatments, usually failed EUI, or that's insemination, or IVF attempts, and actually, well, they're actually already quite emotionally overwhelmed when they reach out. And it's interesting that most of the women who contact, and it's usually women who contact me, right? And when they contact me, they have their menstruation because, it's again a failed cycle, and then they're like feeling really down, and then, you know, and then they sort of decide, okay, now I'm going to ask for help. And there's also a small minority of people who actually contact me before they embark on the medical treatments, to see what they can do, also to see if they can naturally support their fertility, what are the methods there that can support. And by the way, I mean, it's not that I can offer all the support that is available in the field, right? That's also how I see myself. Also, like, this is also the same for birth or pregnancy doula, right? What is available? Well, how can acupuncture help you? Or how can homeopathy help you? How can a nutritionist help you? I mean, I'm not here to provide all the support
Yes, of
that's
course.
available, right? But also help people navigate what is there and what does that do. So it's like you said in the beginning, informational support as well. How can I support myself? And so in that sense, I offer guidance, and that's sort of the starting point, right? Like, how do we go about your fertility journey? So that's the also a bit of a practical support, right? What can you do yourself to help yourself? And another small minority is like people who are considering to stop with the process, which is also a possibility. But usually most people who contact me are well, cases like me, you know, like unexplained infertility. Everything
Who
looks
feel
good on
lost.
paper,
Yeah.
but it's not working out. They've tried a lot of stuff, maybe supplements or, well, some fertility treatments, but it doesn't work out. What's wrong? I'm going crazy. So now let's look further. Let's say that's the phase when people reach out.
It was actually, I'm going to rebound on this, on what you just said. It was my next question. In your experience, what are the most common, I would say, emotional or psychological challenges that people are facing, the people who are contacting you? What are their most common challenges?
Well, uncertainty, I would say. Usually the people who reach out are also happen to be, in any case, in my case, right? Maybe it's also, attracting the people who have been through the same process, but usually highly educated career women who are actually used to reaching their goals, let's say. And then this comes, and then they've sort of come to the point, okay, now I would like to get pregnant, and it's not happening. So what do I do? And actually, it's also a bit of a lack of control over the process, which is very nerve-breaking and heartbreaking as well. And this process is also very hard, right? Because you hope every month and then you're disappointed again. So it's an emotional roller coaster, right? You have to be really strong while everything else is going on in your life, your job, everything is going on. And by the way, of course, everyone is getting pregnant around you. So that's also very challenging. So it's actually quite hard to face it. And plus, especially, and most of my clients are, by the way, expat women, this is another layer of stress, because you're on your own. Going through this on your own is not easy for anyone. And then if your family is also far away, that's makes it even more complicated, right? Because there's no one to reach out to. Again, just like pregnancy, you end up in a medical system which you don't know. You need basically a bit more help to navigate and to find your way within this system, which doesn't. Well, that's also one thing I observe with expat women who seek my help, is that they also feel a kind of communication problem with the health providers. Like it's not, it's of course different than what you're used to in your home country, right?
Yes.
It's not only an issue of language. Okay, you can speak English, no problem. Most of the Dutch doctors can do that. But I think it's more in the approach, like they feel they're not being heard or not, and of course not being held. But that's not the job of the doctor, right? But
no, of course.
So that's what enters the picture as well.
Is this common, what you just mentioned?
Well, many of my clients mention this, and sometimes, and this is also a reason why a lot of women also prefer to seek help abroad. But that also brings its own challenges, right? Because it's a practical and logistical nightmare to go through the fertility treatments abroad, because you also need a lot of extra tests, and then you also end up in a bureaucratic whatever between
Yes.
the two countries. So it's whatever you choose. Actually, it's quite
Yes.
challenging. That's also what I also explain, or what we also talk about, like this is what awaits you if you go for this path.
Yes.
Right? I mean, like for me it's like telling you what's available, just like that's what a doula does, right?
Yeah.
Telling you what your options are, and so that you can make an informed choice based on what fits your needs and what fits your situation as well. I mean, also where you live in the Netherlands also matters, or what is your like also your energy levels. I mean, can you support this going in between countries, and how does that feel for you? So I mean, we talk about these topics
Yes.
as they arise as well, right? Because
Yes.
the process can be long, so yeah, the needs also change. But that's also doula support, right? Continuous support. I'm there as your trusted person, and then you can ask me anything. That's what I always say to clients. You can ask me anything. So, from the smallest things to, I mean, you can just cry or laugh about anything. Which, well, as I said, is not possible with the medical system, right? Because that's not their space and room to offer that support.
I believe every healthcare provider would wish that had the time and space to offer this kind of really compassionate and comprehensive support, but it's just not. I think it's not possible. The systems are saturated. You were mentioning how you support people in a very tailored way. What does a traject with a fertility doula actually look like? Like, is there a typical traject, or how does it work?
Well, there's no typical way, right? I mean, it also depends on your own baggage as a doula, let's say. What are you able to offer yourself, right? Besides like the basic informational support, what is sort of a must in this process. In my case, as I said, I offer classic counseling, coaching type of support. Nowadays I also offer massage, which is geared towards stimulating fertility. I also offer healing rituals, but I mean, like, I think it's less the tools. I mean, like, what I like about doula support is that you're also flexible, that you can use the tools as they call in the process, which serves the women, right? So it depends on the person what is the most useful tool at any moment. But we look and we decide what to do. But a big part of also the work is acknowledging the grief of the situation. I find actually recently, this is what I've also been working on with maybe every client, because in the end, I think this is also one of the maybe not acknowledged parts of the process, is that there's a lot of grief in this process, because your hopes and dreams are being shattered maybe every month. And that's why maybe women also contact me when they have their menstruation, right? Because that's sort of like a realization every month. And it's good to sort of let it out, to release all those emotions. And also going through the fertility treatments can be traumatic in and of itself, right? Because what should happen in the privacy of your home is happening at a medical context. And then you have to go through all these research procedures, which are not always gentle. They hurt, and this is not how you imagined getting pregnant, right? So this is a trauma in and of itself. So this also needs to be released. And I find with this, actually, like, again, I now also use, for example, a closing ritual, the rebozo closing ritual, which we actually also use in the postpartum period, right? But I now also use it within this process to release, actually, well, to close all the disappointments that have happened, so that you can open a new period, right? Because with the rebozo closing ritual, for example, we can close any period we want in our lives, and then make room for the new. So this is also, I find, very important. And now it sounds like we're bridging already to the fertility circle, because this is also the topic of the first fertility circle we will be hosting. But I find this is a very important part of any trajectory I have with women or couples. But usually the thing that's also interesting, that in this process, usually women seek the supports, because it's also, of course, different for women how they experience this process, because it's all happening in them. All the hormones are being pumped in their body. It's such a big difference. I mean, also the same with pregnancy, right? But this hurts women in a deeper way. So so that's why I keep on also saying women, because that's what in practice what happens. Sometimes also we involve with the partners wherever they want to be involved. But sometimes, it's also the women also need space for themselves, right? To talk about the process, also what it does on the relationship, let's say, because it also has a lot of impact on the relationship. So sometimes they have to vent it also individually. But sometimes it's also good to do a session as a couple, so that you come on the same page again. Because for men, it's a bit they tend to remain strong for longer during the process. But I mean, they also have an invisible
absolutely
problem.
That's what I wanted to say. And it's not I was wondering actually if male partners were also reaching out to you, because I cannot believe that they are not impacted by this whole tragedy, because most of the time this is something that you do together. And if it's not working, I can understand that, of course, it affects the woman a lot more. And I can understand that you consult together as a couple, but do male partners also just have consults with you on their own?
On their own, I have never had any, let's say. Together we do. I mean, especially also in the beginning, I also always just like how we start. I mean, as doulas, we always work together with the couple, right? With the fertility trajectory, I always say at the beginning, it's good to do the first session together, because the first session is also about mapping out where do we stand, and what is actually behind our wish to have a child. So if we sort of speak this out, how strong is this wish, and what are we willing to offer for it as well? I mean, these are also important questions. I think this conversation is really important to do together. But of course, I mean, I can't force anyone to join the conversation, right? Especially if the woman has contacted me, I can't force the partner to join. But of course they do. And I mean, they're also at the background. Sometimes also what I also do is I have exercises, of course, and then they work it out together at home. And then they open the conversation together after they have sort of worked it out with me. Then sometimes it's also that you need more clarity yourself so that you can open the conversation with your partner. So that can also be an indirect way of working with the partner with me. But I think there's actually, for men, a lot of support needed. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's also a future dream or intention also
Yeah.
to do circles for the fathers,
Absolutely.
the expectant fathers, let's say, to support their process as well, because it's hard for them in a different way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. You mentioned Rebozo before, and I'm not sure everyone knows what it is. We
Rebozo
do,
is a
but yes.
doula's friend.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is this Mexican cloth, right? So which actually, which is which we have learned from Mexican midwives, right? Like they use this well for fertility as well. Actually, I mean, there are also special massages for fertility. I think they know. I don't know every method they use, because I mean, you know, I haven't. Had a training from a Mexican midwife myself, but we have some basic tools which we have learned from their wisdom. Well, I mean, like, what's I think what maybe I should explain it, what it does emotionally in a way, because this is a cloth, so it wraps you up. And it's also, we also use a lot of rhythmic movements so that the woman feels sort of, well, actually wrapped around and swings around as a baby. So they feel cared for again. So it's kind of bringing them back to motherly care, which is, I guess, also a doula support, right? It's a sister care or mother care. I mean, like, I think that also sets it apart in a way, right? I mean, I think if you say, and that's why I have now totally embraced the title Fertility Doula, because I want to, I mean, my support is not from session to session as a couple, but throughout the period.
Yes.
And I want to, well, be with you, next to you, and I'm not a professional telling you how to do things, but I want to walk with you.
Yes.
And you know, it's, yeah, it should be easy and accessible. And also, like, I think the contact in between is also very, very important in this sense. I mean, because, like, when you're going through fertility treatments, sometimes you need support, I mean, like, not sometimes, but you need also support between the sessions, because there's stuff going on and you feel overwhelmed, or you need a few tips to sort of stay serene and to keep your balance. So I think that continuity is very important with, like, accessibility. Like, yeah, just send me a message, you know. And that's sort of a part of the support, and that's not something you have to sort of like be ashamed about, or be, well, you know, you can do that all the time. That's sort of the door the doula opens as well, right? You can contact me anytime and for anything,
and it's a safe space, and it's yeah, absolutely. You know, you said that the concept of a fertility doula is quite new in the Netherlands. But I was wondering, like, in terms of the work you do and how people perceive it, are there any type of misconceptions about, you know, this type of holistic fertility support, or fertility coaching just in general, maybe, that you'd like to clear up?
Yeah, well, I think fertility coaching in general, I think it's totally underrated still. I mean, I think I feel still, after being, I mean, offering fertility coaching for, over, 10 years now. I mean, like, what I see more and more, by the way, there has been a change, because at one point, I think, well, people were just going to the medical system and then, well, not doing much around it. And nowadays, actually, there's a lot of knowledge available also online, right? So people are taking a lot of, well, supplements, going to the acupuncturist. So I mean, I think there is more openness to getting extra support for this process. but still, I think the mental and spiritual aspects of the process are, well, still not getting enough attention, if you ask me. And I think there we can use more support and more attention, let's say. I mean, because the mind and body are not separate, so
Yes.
we need to look at it from a holistic point of view. So that's, I think, still can use some boost, let's say. Well, and then the other things, of course, I think, as with doula support, it looks very expensive, but it's not. I mean, like, in the end, because the medical procedures are much more expensive, right? And I know that money is not an issue. It's more like maybe not knowing what you can get. I think maybe that's more of an issue, because it looks like, because it's offered as a package, it looks a lot, but in the end, this is an investment you make in yourself. And it's also like, with a failed IVF attempt, your money is gone. But when you work with me, we are working on you, and that investment stays with you, because you're feeling better, you're feeling lighter, and you can, go for it much stronger than you could before you started working with me. So that's, no one can take that away from you. And I also find this is also a chance to invest in yourself as a woman, and this will help you further, if you get pregnant, or even if you don't get pregnant, because sort of what do I need, and you learn how to sort of listen to your own needs as a woman. So I think, the investment will be multiplied.
I understand. I have one last question for you. I think this is a question I ask to all the guests that we have here on the channel. It's not an easy question, but if you had a piece of advice that you would like to give to someone who is just beginning their fertility journey, what would it be? What would be the golden nugget?
You don't have to do it alone.
I love this. This is my best advice. Yes.
Yeah, seek for support, and also don't wait until you feel you can't anymore, right? I think also this, it doesn't need to, but a fertility treatment process can lead to a burnout as well. So don't go on until it gets so tough that you need more support. Like the earlier on you receive the support of a loving doula or
however,
anyone. Like, you
absolutely.
can also get support from someone else, but the most important thing is to get support, because this is so challenging that it requires as much support actually as being pregnant and giving birth abroad. Especially for expats, right? So don't underestimate the pressure it puts on you, and you deserve to be supported.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't have hoped for a better answer and a better transition. I fully agree with what you just said. I think support is essential in any major transition, and this is one of the biggest transition, and it can be very long. And like you said, get support from a fertility doula or from whoever, and it can also be peer support and people who are also going through the same. I'm very happy that we were able to create this new category on Parentally to facilitate access to fertility support for parents who are on this journey, and to organize this actually fertility circle. So for those of you who don't know, haven't read about it yet, we are facilitating a fertility circle together with Semin at Maison Parentally on the 5th of July. Semin, would you like to tell us a little bit more about this event?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, by the way, we also have a fertility support group on
Oh,
Facebook
nice.
for
Yeah.
those who haven't heard about it in town yet. Well, because, I mean, we're quite a community by now. But we have been, well, basically struggling with where to meet and how to meet. But then in the end, now I find with Parentally we have a new home, so we can meet also live, not only online. That's also helpful.
Of course.
And then also to meet, to heal together, to support each other, to share together. And I think the fertility circles are magic in that sense, because they're, yeah, you can share with women who are in the same process. And, well, I mean, we hold each other.
Absolutely.
So, well, this is something I'm really looking forward to. And as I think I've mentioned it already in the talk. So the first one, I mean, also to mark the beginning of fertility support in Parentally, the circle is also called A New Beginning. So we'll make a new beginning with the summer, so that you can relax this summer and maybe restart with a new spirit. And of course, the intention is to continue our circle, right? And every time it might be a different theme.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I hope to meet women who needs to, well, share and to be held.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in Amsterdam.
I cannot wait. I'm literally like very looking forward to this event. I think it's going to be so valuable and so helpful for our community to have this space where they can come together and share about their journey. So I'm really happy to do this together with you.
Yes.
And I cannot wait. We'll still have some spots available. It's space is very limited. So if you are watching this live and if you are interested in joining us, I would recommend to save your spots shortly. We're coming to the end of this live session. I think it was an amazing one. Thank you so much, Semin, for having this conversation with me.
Expanding Parentally, because I think it's
So needed.
also important, like to, I mean, I find it always important, like to have the vision of getting pregnant and becoming a parent, and that this, I mean, the community can grow from that moment onwards.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I hope to well, meet more of you soon.
Yes, yes. I will share everything. So how to reach, how to get in contact with Semin, if you want to learn more about how she can support you on your fertility journey. Also the link to the fertility circle, of course, if you want to save your spot.
Yeah.
Semin, would you like to say something else before we...
No, thank you for this space and for this talk. Yeah.
My pleasure. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much for making the time. Thank you everyone who watched this video. I hope it was useful, helpful, valuable for you. You can find us on parentally.nl. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to seeing you at a new talk very soon. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.